Us. This is Mayegun live. Thank you very much for joining me, as always. But kindly read beyond the caption of this broadcast. Read the description of the broadcast. Like it, share it, invite your friends, invite your not so friendly friends. Tell all of them that Mayegun today. And if you have done all of that, thank you. Now you can sit back, like relax, and enjoy this session. Tonight, we are starting with the beginning of what is called the retrial of Mazi, Nnamdi Kanu, the man that they kidnapped from Kenya 1,363 days ago. That is practically 3 years, 8 months, and 22 days ago by the murderous regime of Bokwari, who have been unable to actually follow their own or respect their own law and their own court. They continue to use the same compromised judiciary to extend the legal detention of an innocent man that the system has managed to create an enmity of, simply because he's asking for the peaceful referendum where the people of the eastern part of Nigeria, the Igbos, who want to leave Nigeria and those who want to remain in Nigeria would have an opportunity to decide their fate. And this is what Nigeria has been working so hard to criminalize. Before now, it seems the mandate given to the judiciary of Nigeria is to do everything within its power to sentence Nnamdi Kanu to death. Unfortunately, it's become so difficult for even the most sinister among them in the judiciary to look at the entire whole case and, in all honesty and in goodwill, convict an innocent man. So the appeal court in Nigeria said Nnamdi Kanu should be released. This was 2 years or so ago. That, number one, Nnamdi Kanu can't stand any trial. There is no court in Nigeria that can try Nnamdi Kanu, simply because of the process of his extradition, which is in itself, we call it, extraordinary rendition, which is just a fancy word for kidnapping someone to go and face justice anywhere. There are processes which Nigeria didn't follow. Nigeria court ruled that. But when it got to the Supreme Court of Nigeria again, where justice was supposed to at least prevail, the Supreme Court of Nigeria agreed that the fundamental human rights of Nnamdi Kanu has been, breached. And in fact, revocation of his bail, right, by the Binta Nyako's court was so wrong that in the face of the law, Nnamdi Kanu did not jump bail when the Nigerian government attempted to kill him. An attack that saw to the death of over 28 young people on that unfaithful day, unfortunate day. However, the Supreme Court now said, rather than let Nnamdi Kanu go, as ruled by the appeal courts, the Supreme Court says Nnamdi Kanu has a case to answer. Therefore, they should return the case back to the beginning, to the same woman, compromised woman, whose husband and son are said to be under the investigation of, for corruption, by the way, investigation for corruption in Nigeria. So, the last time Nnamdi Kanu appeared before Nyako was the last time he argued that I said, you recused yourself in September 2024. And that in itself, right, if you respect your own law, means you are disqualified from even hearing my case again. An argument that the embarrassed Nyako couldn't really dispute, that she had to adjourn. Now, adjourning again referring the same petition of a compromised judge can't give me fair trial, according to the team of Nnamdi Kanu, right? If a compromised judge can never give me fair trial. So finally, I believe the NJC, which received Nnamdi Kanu's petition, finally approved that another judge should be assigned to listen to Nnamdi Kanu. Now, there are many questions that we want to probably ask. We may never get answers to, or we would have to figure them out ourselves, right? If the Supreme Court says that the revocation of Nnamdi Kanu's bail was wrong, and at the same time, he shouldn't be locked up as we speak. So if the same Supreme Court says that they should retry the case of Nnamdi Kanu from the High Court again. So, and they are doing that, well, with another judge. Does that mean that the Supreme Court ruling that Nnamdi Kanu should be free and let go, his bail should be reinstated? Does that mean this new judge is empowered to actually, like, activate that? This is a question, all right? As much as we have been told that with this new development, it simply means that, you see, all these trial, torture, mental, physical, and what have you torture that they have subjected an innocent man to, disobedient to their own court judgments and what have you, right? So that simply means that all of this, right, in the last 1,363 days, is for nothing. Because according to them, with this new judge, Nnamdi Kanu they have to read their charges against him, and he has to take a plea, which is guilty or not guilty. So then they would have to put forward their own defense, this and that. And, it's pretty much like starting afresh. But as we do on Mayegun's Diary Political, where we indeed have been very steadfast in demanding for the release of Mazi, Nnamdi Kanu, by the Nigerian states. We are keeping the record of everyone, including every player, in all of this injustice. The table will turn. Some of us strongly believe that the table will turn sooner than later. When it does, we will never forget those who were responsible, those who bled us, those who bullied us, those who tortured us, right, in the course of demanding for freedom. So that is why we will keep keeping record. So, this morning, when Mazi Nnamdi Kanu appeared in court, it was covered. Let's kind of take a look.
Why are you pushing her? What's the problem? Allow them to show themselves.
See. Oh, this way. Come this way. This way. There one. Very long greetings from the Royal Majesty.
Let me stand up for you. Very good. Good to see you. Yes. Thank you. Don't worry. I'm not. Not at all. I'm not. God bless you. Take care. All right.
That's Mazi Nnamdi Kanu in court. this morning. They have sort of a new addition to their legal team where they have this Mr. Agabi as the senior lead counsel to Nnamdi Kanu. It was Agabi who actually rose up to apologize on behalf of Nnamdi Kanu. He apologized for what he called the last court outburst, where Nnamdi Kanu took the supposed prosecution team, or the lead prosecution lawyer, as well as Nyako herself, to school on their own law, which really got them more embarrassed. And that was the last time. It was obvious that they couldn't really possibly try Nnamdi Kanu. Somehow, that was the last time anyway of them engaging. So today, they read out a 7-count charge against Nnamdi Kanu, including that is behind the insecurity in eastern part of Nigeria, terrorism, and then they are practically not charging him for asking for Biafra anymore. They just said he's attempting to cause public disturbance, unrest, blah, 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 in Nigeria. So they are not charging him as well for calling Bokuwari, Jibril al-Sudani, and a charge which was part of the charges against Nnamdi Kanu when they first kidnapped him. Now they've dropped all the charges against him when they first kidnapped him for these new ones that remains frivolous, empty. They said that Nnamdi Kanu said that Bokuwari was dead, and this Nigeria president at the time was a twin double, kind of like a double, was fake. And his name was Jibril al-Sudani, as well as Muhammad. And those other, lookalikes of Tifnubu called, that was cloned. But when in this their new charges, it is no longer there, because I remember that Nnamdi Kanu said, if they are charging him for calling Bokuwari fake, the only way to know if this Bokuwari is the same Bokuwari that led APC Egbekegbe in 2015 is by conducting a DNA test. So somehow, it kind of makes sense, because at the end of the day, I have to remove it, because in case if you don't know, they've once charged Nnamdi Kanu for calling Bokuwari fake. But when he now said it will stop the agitation for Biafra if this Bokuwari can surrender himself for a DNA test, where it can be confirmed if he is the same Bokuwari or if he's not. So they dropped that. Indeed, in their new charges as well, there will be no DNA test to confirm or to possibly punish Nnamdi Kanu for saying Bokuwari was fake. Just thought I should mention that. And after pleading not guilty, right, his lawyer, the new judge, Omotosho, adjourned the case to next week. Nnamdi Kanu's lawyer.
We are ready. We'll come the next day and let the prosecution present their witnesses. The apology that was issued in the court, I have copies of it, and I value. But at the end of the day, what's important is that our client has respect, utmost respect for the court, for the prosecution, for his team. He's a good man. He's a gentleman. That is what he has demonstrated to me. Thank you.
Please don't have your phone on camera.
And my name is Lieutenant.
Aloy Ejimako is also a long-time counsel to Nnamdi Kanu. And after the court, appearance today, it did give a bit of an insight to what happened and what is going to happen as well Listen.
Greetings, Biafrans everywhere, and all men and women of goodwill. My name is Aloy Ejimako. I remain the special counsel for Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, and just about less than an hour ago, we concluded the first hearing in his case since a new judge was assigned to his case. I'm not going to be verbose or too lengthy in what I'm going to say. I'm just going to give a brief synopsis. The federal government returned to court today with the outstanding 7-count charges. And of course, as the regulations or the procedures will require, Mazi Nnamdi Kanu was required to take his plea, and he pled not guilty. So the matter was adjourned to 29th April, 2nd May, and 6th May for further hearing. And another development that happened is that the legal team has been expanded. I made a tweet earlier on. Those that are following me would have seen that the legal team has been expanded with the addition of 2 senior advocates of Nigeria. And the legal team, for that reason, for the reason of the expansion, having 2 senior advocates of Nigeria, now has a new lead counsel. And the name of the new lead counsel is Chief Kanu Godwin Agabe, a senior advocate of Nigeria and a former senator and a former 2-time Attorney General of the Federation. So with the expansion of the new team, we intend to engage this case with new strategies and new approaches and not yet explored before. And we're hoping that sooner than later, we shall prevail and justice will be ours. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. You're welcome. And that means the supposed argument towards whether they want to push for his bail, then that will be determined in these 3 announced dates: 29th of March next week, and then I think a few days after that as well, the 2nd of April and the 6th of April. So in all of this next 2 weeks, we see us witness again, right? The supposed fight to either confirm or sort of denounce the lawlessness of that contraption. One of the politicians from the eastern part of Nigeria who used this Nnamdi Kanu's persecution by Nigeria to his own political advantage to some extent is Soludom of Anambra. He has patronized with the leader of the IPOB. He has defended him, in few places. He has called for his release. He's met with him when his legal team were not allowed to see him, and feels like a few things like that, where he has featured. But recently, he was quoted to have said, "The release of Nnamdi Kanu, right, can no longer guarantee the the safety or the security in eastern part of Nigeria, because according to him, the criminals in the eastern part of Nigeria, those who use this name or those who probably leverage on the on the insecurity in that part to perpetuate their own criminality, and they do not even have anything to do with the IPOBs. IPOB. That Nnamdi Kanu's absence of presence will likely not change any of that. But his argument was that, in his own words, by the way, listen.
When the Northern Youths issued quit notice to the Igbos, I was the chairman of the Planning and Strategy Committee of Ohanes and Igbo worldwide. We took a census of Igbos in the North. And guess what? We came to the, just some estimate of about 11.7 million Igbos in the North alone. If you have a disorderly dismemberment of this country, what a chaos for this tiny place, and so on. There are other visions for the Southeast. Why couldn't you make it a livable and prosperous homeland Why couldn't you create new prosperity? Why do we keep blaming? So let us come together. We can turn this place to be anything we want it to become. So there are alternative viewpoints. I'd like him to be part of that conversation. And I want him, the legal process, if the courts have asked for him to be released, let him be released, hand him over. Let's have a conversation. Let's have a sit down and interrogate the different views. But a whole lot of this Simon Ekpa and some of this, his band of criminals,